Hello and welcome to Organic Edible Garden. Today we're going to look at planting our lettuces. During winter we've been eating all of our winter crops like kale and mizuna and mustard, and now we're ready for a change. And there's no easier crop to grow in spring than lettuces. Spring and autumn are the best times to plant your lettuces because they like the moisture of the soil and the coolness of the air. If you're going to plant them during the summer months, it's often best to plant them in a shadier area to give them protection from the sun. Lettuces are a short-term crop and they need to grow quickly to taste their best. Lettuces also should never be bitter. They only get bitter when they're stressed, and they're stressed because they don't get enough moisture or enough food in the soil. I want these lettuces in this bed and out within 4 to 5 weeks because it's then time to plant my corn. There's a whole array of lettuces you can plant these days. Years ago, everybody grew the old Iceberg. It's a great lettuce, but it can get a bit boring after a while. Now we've got things like your cos lettuces, which are great for your Caesar salads and really easy to grow because they keep themselves off the ground. We've got its little sister, the little gem, which is actually a Bibb lettuce but grows very similar. Then we've got our soft lettuces like our Buttercrunches and our Tom Thumbs. Great for single servings. We've got things like your oak leaves, especially your red oak leaves. We've found that birds don't seem to want to eat the red lettuces like they do the green ones. Finally, we've got our Batavias, which is our Canasta. There's no lettuces hardy. This will take -3 degrees, but it'll also take up to 30 degrees heat, and it still remains sweet. And finally, if you can't choose, there's an array of mixed lettuces. These lettuces are great because you can just pick the leaves off as you need them, rather than harvest a whole lettuce, and they keep going for a longer period. And just to spice up the salad a little bit, I'm going to add some large leaf rocket. This will give the salad a bit of zing, but also this is also a short-term crop. Its sister, the arugula or the wild rocket, is a longer-term plant, but I want these in and out of that bed, so that's why I'm planting these. When growing your lettuces or any vegetables, it's really important to get the soil right. We've added a couple bags of organic compost to this bed, and now we're going to add some additives. Because lettuces are green leafy vegetables, what we need to do is add a lot of nitrogen to the soil and some phosphorus for the root growth. There's really no need for potassium, which is for fruiting. In that case, we're going to add some blood and bone, which is high in N and P. We're also going to add some of our sheep pellets, which will be slow release, and some volcanic rock, just to give them the total health. The good thing about using all 3 natural products like this is they're very mild on the plants and they won't burn the roots of the lettuces, which is good because they are very shallow rooted. And then with a spade or fork, dig the fertilizer into the top level of the soil. I'm going to plant these lettuces about 30 centimetres apart. The reason I'm doing that is because when growing lettuces organically, we want lots of air movement. One of the problems with lettuces in humid climates like ours is downy mildew, and this will prevent it. I'm also planting them quite far away from the sides. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to put nets over the top. Birds are another issue with lettuces, and I don't want them picking through the nets into the lettuces. Another problem with springtime lettuces is slugs and snails. There's a few different ways you can combat these guys. One of the best ways we've found is the upturned flower pot with newspaper inside and collect them that way. But today we're going to go and use diatomaceous earth on these guys. The last thing I'm going to add is some large leaf rocket. Unlike the perennial arugula, this is a short-lived rocket with large leaves. Because I'm only going to use this bed for the next 4 to 5 weeks, that's all I require. But by adding rocket into here, it's going to spike up the salad. And we just apply some of this diatomaceous earth to the soil and around the plants. By putting diatomaceous earth back into the soil, it's got a lot of silica in it, which will strengthen the plant cells, but it'll also cut up any slugs and snails that crawl over it. We're going to use the same hooks we used for the narrower beds, and we're just going to stretch them and make them wider.